In an episode about good intentions, I mentioned how fear is often used to encourage people to allow access to their personal data. Data that could be repurposed for nefarious motives that only benefit a selected, often influential and powerful few. It is often advertised that the collection and archiving of personal data is to protect and benefit everyone. However, I would like to illustrate why the misuse and theft of personal data is more than just possible, but extremely high. Recent reports reveal that Palantir, a company that specializes in big data analytics and integration platforms for both the U.S. government and commercial clients, over the years has been rewarded with U.S. government contracts to use its data collection applications for use by the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Health, as well as the development of real-time tracking tools to enforce deportation operations for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, commonly referred to as ICE, which works under the Department of Homeland Security. One of Palantir's co-founders is also PayPal's co-founder, Peter Thiel, who just happens to be a close friend of Elon Musk. And we know what Mr. Musk has been up to lately. This is when it becomes necessary to ask if we really have anything to worry about, or if we are letting our imagination cloud our critical thinking. Nevertheless, we must admit that surveillance tools aren't always applied with good intentions in mind. So who do they protect and benefit the most? Let's find out. And welcome to 4C's One Family. After the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attack, any attempt to keep America safe was welcomed with open arms, and the data collector Palantir may have offered his data collection services at the right time. Palantir was founded in 2003 by Alex Karp, Joe Lundale, Stephen Colin, and Peter Thiel, who named the company and is a major financial backer. The company's mission is to focus on supporting U.S. intelligence agencies in counterterrorism and national security operations. However, the company has since expanded its operations into various sectors, including healthcare, finance, and manufacturing. It has been reported that Palantir is currently using its artificial intelligence applications to not only collect and consolidate data about immigrants and government waste, but also to collect and store information on every American citizen, regardless of their cultural, financial, political, and social status across various government agencies without their consent. What are the risks of allowing any person, group, or company to use the apparent power of their AI diagnostic tools to access and archive information about citizens that could be used nefariously? Palantir's tagline just happened to be AI-powered automation for every decision. Do you think the collection of people's private biometric data is only needed to discover new medical cures or to classify people in groups so that they can be, identified and kept under control without having to physically restrain them? I'm not a believer of conspiracy theories, and I'm not trying to make everyone paranoid. I just feel that we must remain socially and politically conscious and not behave like blind mice following a piped piper. Regardless of what we believe or do, we must never drop our guards. 我知道我听起来是比较悲观的。The question now is, who should be allowed to have access to such a massive database built to collect hundreds of data points on every citizen, and how can access be kept transparent? Now that Palantir's Pandora's box has been opened, I hope we don't allow ourselves to become locked in a modern-day animal farm where power and influence are concentrated in the hands of a selected few from the same club, because that will only further marginalize those on the outside, which will cause many of us to become the unrepresented. Once individuals lose the ability to safeguard their personal information, they can become remotely controlled by applications tailored to form their opinions without them even knowing. Those in powerful positions will be able to have their histories rewritten in ways to make them appear to be gods. At the time of this recording, 23andMe, a company that allows individuals to send in a swab of their DNA to create a comprehensive ancestry database, is in bankruptcy and is seeking to liquidate its assets. The issue is that the data collected and stored by 23andMe consists of sensitive customer genetic information, which only makes it not only valuable, but also vulnerable to misuse. Simply stated, the possibility of personal information or data points becoming stolen or misused is real. And those who have unregulated access and control of curated private information, either filtered for public or private use, can use it to endanger the lives of an unlimited number of people, both physically and mentally. Their control of personal private information could be used to create social and psychological weaponry that is more powerful than any weapon used by any military. With Palantir's data collection tools in use, it becomes easier to admit that we now have spies in our pockets. If you have found what we have to offer of any value, please click on the subscribe and bell buttons below to keep up to date with our current episodes. And if you're listening to our podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment because we're very interested in hearing what you have to say. Thank you for joining us here at 4C's One Family. And remember to stay strong, safe, and healthy wherever you are in the world, because we have much more in common than we think.